I know y'all ready for this one. Could Leon Kennedy survive Jason Voorhees? No. At least I think not, right? Like, I mean, Jason's unkillable, is he not? I mean, this is, I don't know, this is kind of a weird one. Let me know down in the comments right now what you think immediately. Yeah, I don't think Leon stands a chance, but we're gonna find out. If you haven't already, yes, hit that like button, hit that sub button immediately right now. Even if you don't really watch gaming content or too much of this style of like reaction content, you know, maybe one day I'll post something that you might want to watch or something. You know what I mean? So you never know. You never know. But could Leon Kennedy survive Jason Voorhees? Hell no. Hell no. That's already what I'm thinking. Hell no.
The woods are dead quiet. No crickets, no wind, nothing. Leon S. Kennedy backs up slowly, boots catching on wet roots. And the only thing in front of him is 7 feet of rotting muscle and a machete that's already got blood on it. His hand goes to his silver ghost.
Already got blood on it.
Something stops him. His biometric scanner is screaming. Not a ghost, not a legend. A viral signature so dense,
a legend.
It's pushing the meter into the red. This isn't a horror story. This is a bioweapon. And today, we're going to find out if Leon Kennedy can survive it.
He's more than capable of trying to handle something like this, but he doesn't die. So I don't know how this is going to work.
Investigating the Crystal Lake anomaly.
Oh, okay. I already see what's going to happen. So Leon's going to try to figure out a way to just trap him, and then they're going to be like, oh yeah, Leon wins because he doesn't beat him, but he traps him, or, you know, something like that. Because that's the only way you can do something to Jason, unless I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below if there ever was a way or ever a weak spot for Jason in the movies. Was there ever something that could be destroyed and then it would hurt him? You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not too familiar with the Friday the 13th movies, but I've seen them all. Never really cared about them too much. But this is gonna be a tough one for Leon. It's gonna be a tough one.
3 days earlier, Leon got a single-page field assignment. No agency header, no case number, just GPS coordinates for Camp Crystal Lake and a note that read, multiple casualties. Pattern matches Raccoon City pre-outbreak behavior. Investigate and report. That was it. So he packed standard issue.
Hey, look at his
his
kit.
Silver Ghost 9mm, a pump-action shotgun with 8 shells.
Can I just say too, Leon's pistol in Resident Evil 4, I don't know if it's called the Ghost. I'm pretty sure in real life it's like a Hecklecock, something like a VP9 or something like that. I don't know, but that thing is so sexy from Resident Evil 4. Like, oh my god, that's probably my favorite pistol of all time. It looks so good, dude.
2 flashbangs, and a combat knife. Practical, efficient, exactly what he needed if this turned out to be a standard containment call. It was not a standard containment call. He reached the camp just before sunrise, and the first thing that hit him was the smell. Copper, heavy and wet, coating the back of his throat. It didn't fade.
At least it wasn't the ozone this time.
4 cabins, a mess hall, a maintenance shed, and every single one had its door open. That's never a good sign. Leon moved methodically, clearing each building, cataloging what he found. The bodies were wrong in a very specific way.
Meatloaf again? That's it? I'm switching families. The Garcia just switched the internet to Verizon.
In a standard animal attack, you get chaotic, scattered wounds. In a human attack, you usually see hesitation, inconsistency. These wounds were neither. The machete strikes were clean, deep, and delivered with a force output that didn't match any human profile Leon had on record. He crouched next to one of the victims and did the math in his head. The kinetic energy required to drive a blade that deep through the shoulder joint, through the clavicle, through the scapula, into the wooden floor underneath, puts the attacker somewhere above Class 103 Tyrant strength output ballpark.
Jeez.
That's not a human number. That's a bioweapon number. But the damage wasn't even the strangest part. Leon started noticing gaps. Specific tissue samples were missing from each victim. Not randomly, surgically. Someone, or something, was harvesting biological material with a consistency that suggested programming, not instinct. Whatever did this was being monitored, maybe even directed. He tagged the evidence, pulled out his scanner, and
it's just Jason always being directed by his mother too. Right. The whole thing about him is just that he's just taking revenge. Well, him and his mother, mainly, I would say mainly his mother probably is just so pissed at all the campers that come to Crystal Lake for letting him drown. So it's not really Jason, but it a lot of it is Jason just going in there and obviously slashing people to bits. But his mother is the main reason, I feel like, for his monstrous brutality.
Swept the perimeter. The viral readings were highest near the water's edge, dropping off as he moved toward the tree line. The source was somewhere in or under the lake. He marked the coordinates and started walking back toward the mess hall to cross-reference his notes. That's when the ground shook. Not an earthquake, footsteps. Slow, massive, deliberate footsteps coming from the tree line to the north, each one snapping branches like they were toothpicks.
Okay, he's not, Jason is not doing all that. He's not doing all that. He's not walking and then knocking trees over. It's not that busted, but he's busted.
Hand on the silver ghost, and the trees at the edge of the clearing just parted. Jason Voorhees stepped into the open, and the first thing Leon registered wasn't the mask or the machete. It was the size. 7 feet, easily 300 pounds of dense, degraded muscle tissue wrapped in necrotic flesh that had clearly been decomposing and regenerating on a cycle for decades. The second thing Leon registered was that his only exit route, the access road to the south, was directly behind Jason. Survival tier for this phase, tier B. Leon came prepared.
Tier B.
He's cautious. He's reading the scene correctly, but he has zero data on what this thing can actually take. He doesn't know yet that bullets are a suggestion to this target, not a threat. He's about to find out. Jason didn't slow down. The machete came up, and Leon drew his weapon. The first engagement, Leon put 3 rounds into Jason's chest before the gap closed. Center mass, tight grouping, exactly where you'd drop a human target. Jason didn't flinch, didn't stumble, didn't even register it. He just kept coming, and Leon had maybe half a second to throw himself sideways before the machete came down and split the cabin door frame.
This is off topic, but I kind of want to see Wolverine versus Jason. I want him to do Wolverine versus Jason. Nerd Science, please. Wolverine versus Jason. That might actually be kind of tough.
Clean in 2. Not chipped it, split it. A 4-inch pine frame straight down the middle like it was cardboard. Leon rolled to his feet and fired again. This time going for the head. The round connected. He saw the impact. And Jason turned toward him slowly, like someone had tapped him on the shoulder. That's when Leon understood the first real problem. This wasn't about accuracy. The bullets were going in. They just weren't doing anything meaningful on the other side, because the tissue was closing behind him faster than the damage could accumulate. He'd seen something like it before, in the files on advanced G-virus anomalies.
He ain't never seen anything like Jason, though. He ain't never seen anything like Jason.
Cellular regeneration so aggressive, it treats ballistic trauma like a minor inconvenience, knitting muscle fiber back together in seconds. His silver ghost wasn't a weapon in this fight. It was a noise machine. He switched tactics and went mobile, putting distance between them and using the cabin structures as cover. Jason moved through them. Literally, through them. A corner wall, a support beam, a wooden table, none of it slowed him down. Because at his mass and strength output, solid objects were just friction. Leon ducked under a swing that would have taken his head off. The machete hit the exterior wall of the mess hall and kept going, punching straight through the timber and out the other side. The kinetic force behind that strike was enormous. We're talking about a physics problem here. Force equals mass times acceleration. And at 300 plus pounds moving with that much drive behind it, that machete was hitting like a small vehicle. One clean connection and Leon was finished. He got a partial connection instead. Jason's forearm caught him across the ribs during a grapple attempt, and Leon went airborne. 4 feet, maybe 5, and hit the exterior cabin wall hard enough to crack the planking behind him. He landed badly, felt something grind on his side, and had about 2 seconds to decide his next move before Jason was on him again. He grabbed a flashbang off his vest and cooked it for 1 second before throwing it directly at Jason's face. The burst was blinding. Leon looked away, heard the crack, and when he turned back, Jason was standing completely still. Not staggered, not disoriented, still. And that was the second real problem, because a flashbang works by overloading optic nerves and disrupting the inner ear simultaneously. The sound component alone should have caused, at minimum, a balance disruption in any standard physiology.
Yvonne is my little Pookie
He
bear.
brings up any standard physiology, but Jason is not standard.
Jason showed zero acoustic response.
Yeah.
No head movement, no postular shift, nothing. His auditory system wasn't processing the concussive wave the way a biological system would, which meant his sensory organs weren't standard. They were mutated, changed, turned to something other than normal stimulus ranges. Leon used the pause anyway. He wasn't going to argue with a window, and sprinted hard toward the northern edge of the camp, away from the access road into the tree line. Jason followed. Of course he followed.
He might as well just leave. Like, Leon might as well just go get back up. He might as well go get as many people as he possibly can to fight this thing, especially Umbrella. I mean, Umbrella is... Like, if Umbrella saw something like this, they'd be like, yo, what the hell is that? Oh my God, they would sell this. He would be worth way more than the Tyrant. Like, Jason would destroy the Tyrant, I think, in my opinion.
But Leon had maybe 40 seconds of separation, and he used all of them. Survival tier for this phase, tier D. Standard ballistics are completely useless. Close quarters combat is a death sentence. And his best disorientation tool did essentially nothing. Leon is alive because he's fast and he got lucky. That's a tier D situation. But the thing that saved him wasn't speed. It was the cave. He almost ran straight past the entrance before his boot hit the edge of a metal grate buried in the hillside, and he looked down. The Umbrella secret. The grate wasn't locked. It was heavy, industrial, the kind of steel you use when you want something to stay buried for a long time. But the hinge mechanism still worked, and Leon was through it in under 4 seconds. He pulled it shut behind him and dropped into a concrete shaft that smelled like stale air and something chemical. Bleach, maybe, or a close industrial cousin of it. The footsteps above him got louder, then stopped. He didn't move for 30 seconds. Then the footsteps started again, slower, moving away. He breathed. The shaft opened into a corridor. Not a cave, a corridor, metal grating for a floor, concrete walls, overhead strip lighting that flickered once and then held steady. Whatever power source was running this place had been on standby for a long time. Leon moved forward with his knife out. Silver Ghost holstered because if something was in here with him, he'd hear it coming before he saw it. The corridor turned once, then opened into a room that stopped him cold. It was a lab, or it had been. Rows of stasis tanks lined the walls, most of them shattered from the inside, with thick frost still clinging to the broken glass, even after what looked like years of abandonment. Decaying medical equipment, biohazard storage lockers hanging open and empty. And on the far wall, half covered by a collapsed ceiling panel, the Umbrella Corporation logo, red and white.
Don't tell me the Umbrella Corporation is going to have something to do with Jason. Just don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
Rusted at the edges, unmistakable. Leon stared at it for a moment. Then he said, out loud to nobody, of course. He moved to the data terminal in the center of the lab.
Of course what?
The screen was cracked.
He's
the
not.
Interface corrupted. But the storage architecture was old Umbrella standard. He'd cracked worse. It took him 6 minutes to get into the core files. What he found was a project designation, N.E. Voorhees.
N.E. Voorhees. Out of here. Umbrella did not. I know these are made up situations anyway, but like, come on, man. And this is exactly how Leon's gonna win somehow, just by researching like this Umbrella Voorhees project. Now I know for sure Leon's gonna get the dub somehow, just because Voorhees is an Umbrella project now, apparently.
Decades earlier.
In reality, he was brought back by, was it some like old gods or some voodoo or something like that? It's something like that, I'm pretty sure.
Intake logs described a juvenile male recovered from the lake, clinically dead on arrival, showing spontaneous cellular activity consistent with early-stage viral exposure. The water had slowed down the mutation cycle dramatically, keeping the subject in a kind of biological stasis between death and full transformation. Umbrella's assessment at the time was straightforward. The truth is, they didn't see a victim. They saw a test bed. The follow-up logs were worse. Umbrella's team had gone back in and made additions. They bonded an early prototype of a neural parasite, a Plagueis precursor, rough and unstable, directly into the subject's central nervous system. The stated goal was aggression control, a field deployable bioweapon that could operate autonomously in a contained geographic zone, feeding and cycling without requiring direct.
Okay, so Umbrella came upon Jason. They didn't create him. They found him and then injected parasites into him or something like that. Okay, that's better. That's better.
Management. Local folklore would mask the evidence. The lake would mask the biology, and Umbrella would collect behavioral data from a distance. They called it a free-range, persistent threat trial. Leon had to put the terminal down for a second after he read that. He went back in and pulled the biological architecture files. This was the part that mattered. Jason wasn't running on a single viral system. The Plagueis integration had created 3 distinct parasitic clusters anchored into his tissue. One embedded in the chest cavity behind the sternum, one at the base of the spine, and one hardwired directly behind the frontal plate of the mask. Each cluster was functioning as an independent regenerative node, keeping the necrotic tissue active even as it continued to decay. Remove one, and the others compensated. That's why nothing Leon threw at him in the field had stuck. You don't kill the host, you kill the network. Behind him, the blast door started shaking.
I love games like these. Ooh, what is this? Oh, is this? Wait. Nah, okay. I thought this was something that they shown like a long time, or it might be? This looks cool.
The regenerator physiology breakdown. Leon didn't panic. He pulled up the biological architecture file again and read fast. The 3-cluster system Jason was running wasn't new science to him. Not entirely. Back in Spain, during the Salazar mission, he'd gone up against the regenerators, plaga-infected hosts that could rebuild tissue in real time, absorbing gunfire like it was rainfall. The only way to kill them was the thermal biosensor scope. You couldn't see the parasites with the naked eye.
If you know Resident Evil 4, man, oh my God, like the original Resident Evil 4, even remake's cool, but original RE4 will always be, you know what I mean? Like chef's kiss. It's always gonna be the best one. But the first time coming across the regenerators in RE4, I'm turning off the game completely. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, dude, like so scared. And hearing the like like, oh my God, the sounds that they would make and the music that would play. It's just, oh, it's so scary, so scary.
But under infrared, they lit up like signal flares against the cold, dead host tissue. Same principle here. Jason's necrotic flesh would read as near ambient temperature. Cold, low output, basically invisible to standard optics. But the parasitic clusters were biological engines running hot. They'd be generating significant heat structures just to sustain the regenerative cycle. On a thermal scope, they'd stand out like 3 burning coals sitting inside a block of ice. The problem was destroying all 3 before the remaining nodes could compensate. The lab files were specific about the regeneration speed. A single cluster could sustain full tissue repair across the entire body in under 90 seconds. 2 clusters could do it in under 40. So if Leon hit 1 core and gave Jason even 30 seconds to breathe, the remaining 2 would push the biology back into full repair mode and he'd be starting from 0. The window between hitting the first core and getting to the 3rd was the entire fight. Miss that window and the whole sequence resets. He needed a thermal scope. He scanned the lab lockers. Most of them were open, stripped, or corroded shut. The 3rd one, along the back wall, was locked with a 4-digit Umbrella standard code. Leon tried the default override sequence he'd memorized from the Raccoon City files. It worked on the first attempt, which told him this facility was old enough that nobody had ever updated the security credentials. Inside was a thermal biosensor scope, still in its original case, designed to mount to a standard issue shotgun rail. His shotgun had a rail. He grabbed it. If you've ever tried to calibrate optics under pressure with a door shaking behind you, you understand why Leon's hands were moving faster than his breathing. He snapped the scope onto the rail, powered it on, and looked through the lens at the wall in front of him. The concrete read flat and dark. His own hand read warm. The system was working. Could you imagine standing in a collapsed underground lab, knowing the thing that just walked through the cabin walls is 30 seconds from ripping your exits off its hinges and having to stay calm enough to calibrate scientific equipment? That's the Leon Kennedy operational profile. That's what Raccoon City does to a person. It removes the panic response and replaces it with pure procedural thinking. Survival tier for the planning phase, tier A. He has the science, he has the tool, and now he has a viable kill strategy. The odds shifted the moment he opened that locker. Not in his favor exactly, but at least they're on the same side of impossible. The blast door stopped shaking. Then it came off its hinges entirely. The final stand. Jason stepped through the empty frame where the blast door used to be, and the lab immediately felt half the size.
It's not fair that he gets weak spots. I'm just gonna say, I mean, you could say it's fair because Leon is just human, whatever, but it's not fair because this is supposed to be a pure Jason Voorhees versus Leon S. Kennedy, not Jason Voorhees tampered by Umbrella with weak spots placed on him to be able to be shot. Like, you know what I mean? I want to, no, this is not how it's supposed to be. But I'm going to let him cook.
As it was a second ago, Leon raised the shotgun, eye behind the thermal scope, and the world went cold and dark in the lens, except for 3 points of light. Chest, spine, mask. Burning red against dead tissue. Exactly like the files said. He had his targets. Now he needed his sequence. Jason moved fast for the space. He crossed the first row of stasis tanks in 2 strides. A backhand, sending a full metal rack spinning into the wall like it weighed nothing.
Oh my God.
He went the other direction, putting a lab bench between them. Backhand, sending a full metal rack spinning into the wall like it weighed nothing.
Oh my
Leon
God.
went the other direction, putting a lab bench between them, keeping his angle on the chest core. He needed distance for the shot to matter. Close range on a shotgun spreads the payload too wide and risks missing the cluster entirely. He needed maybe 15 feet of separation and a half second of stillness. He got 12 feet in a quarter second, and he took it. The shot connected with the sternum cluster dead center. The thermal scope flared white on impact, then dropped to nothing. One down. Jason's forward momentum actually stopped. He stood there for a full 2 seconds, head tilted, and Leon could see the biology working in real time. The remaining 2 clusters pushing output into overload, compensating, flooding the tissue with repair signals. The muscle mass across Jason's back and shoulders expanded visibly, the necrotic skin splitting and resealing as the parasites went into defensive mode. He was bigger now than he was 30 seconds ago. Leon was already moving. He came around the back of the lab bench hard, trying to get an angle on the spinal cluster before the compensation cycle completed. Jason spun faster than his size had any right to allow. The machete came across in a wide horizontal arc, and Leon got his combat knife up in a 2-handed parry, angling the blade to redirect rather than absorb. The machete skidded off the knife and hit the concrete wall, throwing sparks. Leon's arms took the transferred force hard, both shoulders screaming, but he was already driving forward underneath the swing, pressing the shotgun barrel to the small of Jason's back and pulling the trigger. The spinal cluster detonated. Jason lurched forward, one knee hitting the floor, and the sound he made was something between a mechanical grind.
Did you know with Capital
mechanical
One, you can see if you're
grind?
pre-approved?
Like, what does that sound like?
Breath. Not pain exactly. A system fault. Leon racked the pump, and nothing came out. He racked it again. Empty. 8 shells, 2 encounters. He was out. Jason was already getting back up. Leon scanned the lab. The ceiling conduit along the back wall had taken damage when Jason came through the door. A thick power cable was hanging loose, frayed at the end, sparking intermittently against the metal floor grating. High voltage. He could see it from here, and he had about 4 seconds before Jason was fully upright. He grabbed the cable with both hands and threw the live end directly onto the grating between Jason's feet. The current spiked through the metal floor and up through Jason's body in a full system discharge. Jason seized, every muscle locked simultaneously. The remaining parasite cluster behind the mask overloading on the current. The regenerative signal scrambling as the electrical interference cut through the neural network. He wasn't going to stay down, but he was down right now. Leon drew his silver ghost, looked through the thermal scope one more time, and found the third core glowing white hot through the eye hole of the mask. He fired once. The cluster ruptured. The regenerative network collapsed. Jason's body went rigid from the top down. A slow crystallization, necrotic tissue locking into dead matter. The biology shutting off node by node until 7 feet of engineered bioweapon folded to the lab floor and didn't move again. Survival tier, final phase, tier S, perfect execution, 0.
This dude is just, yeah. S. I mean, yeah, sure, for taking out like the weak spots, but he's not done after that, though. He's not done.
0 wasted
He shouldn't be done.
1 bullet left in the magazine. Then the quarantine alarm started screaming. Leon hit the surface with the hockey mask in one hand and 30 seconds to spare before the underground facility collapsed into the lake bed in a dull, muffled boom that sent ripples across the water. He stood at the edge of Crystal Lake and looked at the cracked mask. Umbrella turned a local legend into a tyrant and let him run for decades. So what do you think's buried under the other camps? Leave a comment with who Leon should face next and subscribe for...
We should put Leon against Godzilla. That's what we should do. This Spider-Man Godzilla. Yeah, we should put Leon against Godzilla. No, that would be, that's so stupid. What do you guys think about that? I mean, I get it. I get why he added like the whole umbrella thing and how they tweaked with Jason and submerging the whole thing underwater or whatever, but man, he's not done. He's not done. Like the Jason we all know is not done after that. Like, if anything, Leon thinks it's all over and he's like, and then as soon as you know it, That's the Jason that I know. Like, oh my God, he would have. In my opinion, I think Jason just clears Leon easily. Those horror characters like Freddy Krueger, Jason, Michael Myers a little bit. I feel like he's a lot less magic based, kind of, unlike Freddy and Jason, because again, I know Freddy made deals with demons and stuff to be able to do what he does, but Jason, on the other hand, I'm pretty sure he was like powered by like an ancient god or something. He's powered by like some ancient evil or something like that. He destroys Leon 100% of the time, in my opinion. I guess we should have expected that. I knew it. I knew he wasn't gonna let Leon just get cooked by Jason. So I don't know, boys. This is crazy. What do people have to say about this? Leon, and that's why I started carrying the Requiem. Literally though, that's why I started carrying the Requiem. Yeah, because of Jason. I've seen Leon parry rockets in Requiem. That alone gives me faith in this. I'll give your mom my regards, Jason. Yeah, right. Coming right back, slapping that man. Like, you know, it's finally up against a villain who gives him that silent treatment he was looking for. Yeah, I'm crying. Actually, the umbrella take on Jason is awesome. Theory, it just fits. Yeah, it does fit. Yeah, Ada will always show up last second to throw an RPG to win the Leon fight. You're right. For Jason, it was the most important day of his existence. For Leon, it was Tuesday. Yeah, I mean, GG's to Jason. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Let me know if there's any other Nerd Science Jones you guys might want me to react to, or if there's anything else you guys might want me to react to. I wouldn't mind. I'm open to everything. So hit that like button, hit that sub button right now if you haven't already, like I said in the beginning, because I don't know why if you made it this far, how you're still not subbed. And if you have, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love you. And until next time, boys, I'm out of here like Vladimir.